Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom. Happy Monday.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a little breezy here at the beach. There's a wind coming from the east. It's been blowing for the last 24 hours, and my view is to the east, so it has been pummeling the condo I'm in. Something to see. It's certainly thrown the cat for a loop.
I can imagine. Probably doesn't know really what to do with all that.
You asked the question.
Fair enough. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast where we have a conversation around a topic and try to provide our one thing that we think will help you move forward, and maybe not be today, but it might be somewhere down the line, or it's something that you can use to share with someone else to help them maybe deal with something and take the next step. So we've been talking a lot about being a renegade and renegades and lots of stuff going on as a part of Renegade. And I think, one of the interesting things about that is I'm sure there are some people who doubt or are uncertain about whether or not they are a renegade. And so this week, we're going to talk a little bit about doubt and what that means. And yet, before we get to that, we are going to dive into the way we start every show is with celebrating. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm going to celebrate the power of referrals. I've had 2 or 3 people refer me to other people in the last week or two. And it's a powerful tool in building a business. And it's one of those things that I think we often take for granted. But when we really think through it, it can be really powerful. In that someone recommending us to someone else, it's at that point, I think it's yours to lose, not yours to win.
Sure. Well, I think it's one of those, it helps eliminate some of the know, like, and trust concerns, because someone else is sharing with you that this person has done a great job with them. And I think, it's interesting that that's part of it, because there can be some doubt when you get a referral, depending on the referral you get, whether or not you are like diving in wholeheartedly, or you're going to take it a little bit slower and try to figure out. And I'm sure it's based a little bit on who's doing the referring.
I wanted to put this up here, Tom, because I sent Frank. Frank does this. This is a variation on his usual theme, which is lots of T's, lots of O's, lots of M's, and then lots of my name letters. I did that for him the other day. It takes a lot of work. This is a labor of love. This man clearly either has a lot of time on his hands or has perfected copy and paste. I don't know, because I did it by scratch and it took me over a minute. So I just wanted to put that up there. That's art, Tom.
He is a person who is committed to whatever it is he's doing. He is committed to doing it. One of the things I love about Frank. So thank you, Frank, for welcoming us this morning.
Yes, thank you, Frank. Always great to see you.
Yes.
So, Tom, what are you celebrating this morning?
I am celebrating, since I was up late last night, I'm going to celebrate, as some people may remember, because we've talked about it a few times on this show. I am a Buffalo Bills fan. So if you don't follow football, I'm sorry. And for those of you that do, the Bills played last night, played the Kansas City Chiefs, who went to the Super Bowl last year, won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Bills lost to them in the AFC Championship game last year, and they went to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs last night. And I'm sure there were definitely some people on that team, probably not as many people on the team as people around the team, that had doubt that the Bills could go in and do it. And I think even probably some of the players, and until you've done something, it's hard to be certain or to really feel strongly that you can accomplish something that you set out to achieve. And so I'm celebrating that the Bills came through. I had good feelings about it, and it's a game, so you never know what's going to happen. So
Yes, that was quite the game. I will say, Tom, you were talking about the doubts that the players may have had, and it occurs to me that we also have some doubts even after we've done something. That, well, that was a fluke, or we got lucky, or, things stacked up the perfect way, and that'll never happen again. So those doubts, sometimes even when we achieve something we're trying to achieve, still crop up because, we're trying hard to protect ourselves from making a mistake.
Certainly. There's no doubt about that, right? And I think one of the things is that it's not easy, and usually those things that you have yet to achieve, you look at it and be like, I'm not sure I can do that. I'm not sure that I'm ready to take on that challenge. Or as you say, some people might think that, oh, I just got lucky. I landed a client. Well, you can then go back and be like, well, it was because of this, and this. There was a referral. When in reality, ultimately, you were the one who was able to work with the person to show the value that you had and how you could help them achieve whatever it is they were trying to achieve. So it's a good thing. So what is the world celebrating today, Bob?
Well, first, I should give a couple of caveats. I had the Today Show on this morning, and they were celebrating the International Day of the Girl, which is a great cause, a great celebration. But they're doing all that, so I don't need to do that. It's also the first National Indigenous People Day, which is a celebration, along with Columbus Day, which is a national thing. So those are all being covered. There's stories. You can go find all kinds of information. What you will not see today is that it's National Kick Butt Day. Yes, National Kick Butt Day. Now, you ready for this? This is the description that's on the National Day calendar page. The day aims to motivate the business world to work smarter and harder towards their goals. While striving to outdo the competitor, be sure to also take stock of your achievements and how far you've come. Have you made the strides you expected at this point in your career, in your month, in your day, in your week? If not, check your goals. Do you have the right ones in place to kick butt? I told you would like this one.
Fascinating that's, again, how these things become days is interesting. Someone felt like that was a worthwhile thing to submit to the organization, and I value that.
Well, I like it as a concept, kicking butt, and not just looking forward, I'm going to crush my competitor, but looking backward and trying to figure out what you've achieved and what still you want to accomplish and how to get there. That's very similar to what we do as renegades, right, Tom?
Absolutely. I was thinking that. It was interesting, the description. I think there could have been a lot of other descriptions for Kick Butt Day. And that was very reflective and intentional about, okay, what were the goals that I set? And if I have not yet achieved what I'd hoped, let me put some positive thought into it and go out and try to get it done. So interesting. I never would have thought of Kick Butt Day.
National Kick Butt Day. Kick Butt Day was small. That was a local thing, but now it's National Kick Butt Day, Tom. Fair
enough. All right, everyone. So let's dive in.
I want to see the segue here.
Well, one of the things about it, what's interesting in the conversation, in the description, is that it's not all just about confidence. It's not just all about, oh yeah, I'm the best, and now I'm going to go out and kick butt. It's really about, I had set some goals. I was trying to achieve something, and I might not have achieved it yet. It was not, the description was not just, oh yeah, I'm the greatest. It was really like, okay, where are you at?
Taking stock.
Yeah, to really take stock and figure out where to move forward. And I think one of the reasons that we end up having that type of a move makes sense is that because we can have doubt. I mean, doubt, I think, creeps in all the time. And it was funny when we started talking about this as a topic, I thought, I feel like we've covered this. And I'm sure probably somewhere we probably did a little more specifically like self-doubt. Although that's where we're going to talk a little bit about today is in ourselves. It's still such an important topic and something that I think is worthwhile of, even if we have covered it once before, to dive back in, because I think it pops up all the time, especially as you get closer to the end of the year and you start to wonder, like, okay, I had all these lofty goals and ideas, or not even lofty, I just had goals and ideas. And am I going to achieve them? And if not, what could happen? And it clearly is an easy way for doubt to creep in. You know, you could not set goals, and then maybe you wouldn't have as much doubt. You just go along and whatever happens, happens. And I think once you set some intentions, now it's harder and harder to just be like, well, whatever happens, happens. Well, no, I said this is what I was going to do. Am I going to get there? So what are some of your thoughts around doubt in ourselves?
First of all, Tom, I would say that I think even if you don't set goals, you have self-doubts. You go into a meeting and you're doubting whether you can hold up in that meeting. I was talking to someone new in a job and they said they go to a meeting and they feel like they can't contribute because they've only been there 2 weeks and everyone else has been there years. And I said, they put you at the table for a reason. Share what your experience is. That's why they hired you. And I think that happens to us all the time. I think we feel like sometimes we're playing outside our league. We don't have the same skill set as others. We don't have the same experience. We haven't had the successes of others. So I think self-doubt can crop in even if you have no goals set. But I think when we set goals or intentions, our self-doubt becomes more, what's the word I'm looking for? More exact. I didn't make 5 sales calls today. Now I'm doubting my whole ability to do sales. Whereas it could just be, it was a bad day. It could just be that you weren't feeling it. There are a million reasons, but we usually go to the most extreme, which is, I can't do this. I'm out. And I think that's one of the things that I'm learning more and more as an entrepreneur and as a business leader is you never get rid of doubt. Self-doubt's there at every turn. You just get more comfortable dealing with it. And you get better at identifying it and going, yeah, that's my self-doubt coming out. That doesn't have to be exactly what I think. And I think that's the evolution in my thinking. I know if we went back, I think it was 8 or 9 months ago, we talked about self-doubt. I think my evolution in the last 8 or 9 months is it's never going away. It's just I'm better at managing it now. I have some better strategies, and I also have some things, including our Renegade Day Pack, that really helps me overcome that instantly because it gives me a different way of looking at the day. Otherwise, I'm looking at the day from a perspective of, did I achieve the result I thought I should? Not could,
Right.
should. And I think that's one of the things as we get more into this, it goes to could, not should. And I think when we get away from should, we get away from judgment, we get away from the self-doubt game. What are your thoughts, Tom?
No, I would agree. It's interesting. I was listening to a podcast while I was driving last week, and
Was it ours?
What's that?
Was it ours?
It was not ours.
Was it mine from a couple years ago? The Serious Soft Skills podcast?
It was not. Sorry.
It was a great plug, though, wasn't it?
That was a pretty good job.
Thank you.
It was, and it just, the topic was about shoulding all over yourselves. And it's funny because
I'm sorry, you said shoulding?
Shoulding, yes.
Okay, all right. Just want to make clear because when I post this, I have to say if there's any explicit language.
Yeah, no, there is not. Although and they use that term a lot throughout the one episode, and I think it's just easy to lead into that because I think you're right. Self-doubt is there all the time because we just are trying to figure out what we're doing. And I think, again, we're taking those big expectations. One of the challenges is that if you have set a goal and you're not there yet, typically it's a big step to go from where you are to that goal. And so you feel like, how am I going to ever I can't make that leap I didn't make that leap today. And even if I did, I'm like, oh, there's all these little steps to get there. How am I going to achieve that? And if I don't do one, I feel like I'm one day further away from achieving that goal. And so it's easy for the doubt to creep in yourself to be like, I'm never going to get it done. How am I ever going to help this happen? Because we're thinking about getting to the final result, not just the next result. And I think, those tactics like the day pack are a great way to help you really focus on what can I accomplish today to help me get closer and closer to that. And I think so often all we think about is the end result, which becomes harder and harder to do. If all you're thinking about is whatever the next step is, okay, well, I can take that next step and understand that maybe that goal was further out than I thought or harder than I expected. And so it might take me a little bit longer. Not that I'm doubting that I can complete it. It's just I'm not setting up unrealistic expectations or even unknown expectations for when it's going to be accomplished.
Today's the Boston Marathon. And yesterday was the Chicago Marathon, and the day before was the Baltimore Marathon. So you have 3 26.2-mile races stacked 3 days in a row. Those runners, I've never run a marathon. I ran a half marathon. You can't just get up on a Saturday morning and run.
No.
12 miles, 20 miles, doesn't happen. You have to build it up slowly. And I can tell you, as I was getting ready to do the half marathon, I had great self-doubt. I didn't believe my body could hold up in that kind of situation. And even sometimes when I run a shorter distance, I just, like today, I was going to run, but there's a 20-mile-an-hour wind. I'm just not going to run in 20-mile-an-hour wind. I'm a tall guy. I'm basically a sail, in that situation. So I had self-doubts this morning about, am I committed to my running? Am I committed to my fitness goals? Am I committed to all these things? But then I stepped back and said, wait a second. You made a decision today that doesn't influence your decision tomorrow. It doesn't influence your decisions yesterday. It's just one day, one decision. And I think we have self-doubt. Self-doubt protects us, right? Because we like to be comfortable. We don't want to be uncomfortable. So self-doubt's a real good way to avoid us being uncomfortable, because to achieve our goals means we're stepping outside of who we are right now. And as we move closer to those goals, our mind knows deep down inside, it's not going to get easier. The challenges that come along will get more difficult. So we're trying to protect ourselves. So it's really a safety mechanism for a lot of us. And I think that safety mechanism doesn't always work. Seatbelt works really well, except for that time when you're trying to reach over and get your bottle of water that's across the way and it's locked. You're like, wait, I don't need a seatbelt right now. Why is this? Oh, it's engaged. So then you have to take the seatbelt off, get your bottle of water, put it back on. I think self-doubt can be that way at times. It can be really good because it protects us from setting goals that are completely unrealistic. And it can be detrimental in the times when it really stops us from believing we can take the next step.
I like that. So we're nearing that time. Actually, it probably is that time. What's your one thing?
I think my one thing, Tom, is what I've found to deal with self-doubt. The most powerful tool is our Renegade Day Pack. And I know that sounds like a shameless plug. I don't mean it that way. I mean that as it's something you and I discovered that we were doing that we could modify, and we've done it with other people. And it really does shift that focus away from self-doubt, because for those of you who don't know what it is, it really talks about celebration first. Celebrate what you've already achieved, build on that, and then take the next step. So rather than thinking I've got to climb the mountain, this is saying, no, you just need to go to the next plateau. How do you get to the next location? And I think that's really shifted my focus in my business. And it's also made me celebrate a lot of things that I used to just be like, well, that sales call didn't go the way I expected. Like last week, I had someone I thought was going to be a client, and they said no. And rather than being really mad at myself, I read their email and it was like, yeah, you know what? It's really not the right time for them. And the person said in the email, when I read it the third time, I really like what you're doing. There's a time and place for what you do. It's just not right now.
Yeah.
6 months ago, I would have read that email and said, I'm a failure. I'm done. My career's over. I need to go another route. What was I thinking? And this time I was able to parse it out and realize that this person, it wasn't about me. It was about this person's finances and the timing. And
Yeah.
I can't control that, as we say all the time.
Right.
So what's your one thing, Tom?
I'm going to go to a piece of that because I think that one of the biggest challenges of self-doubt is just being uncertain that we can accomplish it, anything almost. And I think that when we take the time on a regular basis to celebrate, we look back on the things that we have accomplished to understand that likely while we were trying to accomplish whatever that was, there was self-doubt that would be able to get it done. And yet we persevered and got through it. And so I think the more time you take to celebrate those things that you have accomplished, the actions that you have taken, the next steps you've completed, the easier it will be to take the next one. And that there will be less self-doubt. There will probably still be some. And yet if you're in that positive mindset of, I can get things done, then it'll be easier to do the next thing. It's like the little engine that could. Instead of saying, just says, I think I can, says I can, it will make it up over that hill. How about that for bringing in a childhood story?
That was nice. That was really good.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today around our discussion about doubt and in ourselves. We will be back tomorrow morning to continue the conversation. If you are feeling like, you're still uncertain, there is still doubt in there. And, the idea of having a strategy to help overcome that doubt, our day pack and our Find Success the Renegade Way program still has a space or two left. And so we would be happy to talk with you further about it. So please feel free to put something in the chat, direct message us. If you are listening to this on the podcast, you can email us at ringleaders with an S at renegadesuccessnetwork.com. And we were starting that program next Saturday, so there is still time for one or two of you to get in. And we hope that if you are listening to this on the podcast, or that you will share it with friends and rate this episode, because that
5 stars.
That you can rate this episode, and that'll help get our word out to others who may be looking exactly for this. Worried about, I have some self-doubt. I have some doubt in myself of what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish. If you are watching this on Facebook Live or on Twitter, please feel free to leave
Or YouTube.
Please feel free to put a comment with your one thing about doubt in ourselves, because we know that while what we offer is valuable, what you will share might be exactly what someone else is looking for as well. So please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas with us. If you are not yet a member of our Ring of Renegades, you can join that on Facebook. It's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then ask to join. It is a private group, so you do have to ask. All you have to do is tell us that you're a renegade, and then you can become a part of our growing community where we are helping people take that next step and not have as much doubt in themselves and be able to move forward with whatever it is they're trying to achieve. So we hope
to share those doubts with people who will be supportive and encouraging
and may have a solution to help you move forward. So we hope that we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we will see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Hey, embrace the renegading you.
Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success.